All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch development projects of more than 600 crore rupees in Varanasi this morning. COVID recovery rate improves to 92.49%. Assam government to start Aadhaar enrollment drive for 70 lakh students today. US President-elect Joe Biden announces 12-member task force to deal with COVID-19. Former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy to co-chair the group. In cricket, Delhi Capitals beat Sunrisers Hyderabad to enter first-ever IPL final. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of various development projects worth 614 crore in his parliamentary constituency Varanasi this morning. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will be present on the occasion. The Prime Minister will also interact with the beneficiaries of these projects during the event. More from our correspondent.
Commissioner of Varanasi Deepak Agrawal said that around 1500 people will participate in the program through video conferencing. There is arrangement of live display of the program at 6 places in city on big screens and through 5 LED mobile vans also. The 16 projects which will be inaugurated today by Prime Minister includes Sarnath Light and Sound Show also. The show is going to be a major attraction for the tourists who reach this heritage site from all over the world. With the inauguration today, the first Light and Sound Show will be organized for public at 7:15 this evening. During the event, Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone for projects including the redevelopment of the Shashwamedh Ghat and Khidkiya Ghat, barracks for PAC police force, along with upgradation of the multi-purpose hall in Girija Devi Sanskritik Sankul and development of tourist places. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 92.49%. Health Ministry said in the last 24 hours, more than 49,000 COVID patients have recovered. The total number of recoveries has gone up to over 78,68,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 6.03% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 5,12,000. In the past 24 hours, 45,674 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 85 lakh. The ministry said that effective implementation of the strategic and graded test, track and treat approach has led to higher recoveries and lower fatality. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.48%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, 559 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,26,121. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 11,94,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached 11 crore 77 lakh.
In Delhi, a total of 7,745 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the last 24 hours. The total number of cases rose to over 4,38,000. The Delhi government said over 3,89,000 people affected with COVID-19 have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 6,069 people recovered and 77 deaths were reported in the city, taking the toll to 6,989. Currently, the total number of active cases in the national capital is 41,857. In Maharashtra, 5,092 new cases of coronavirus were reported yesterday, taking the tally to 17,19,858. With 110 patients succumbing to the infection yesterday, death toll in the state has risen to 45,240. The number of recovered patients has gone up to 15,77,322 after 8,232 patients were discharged yesterday. Mumbai reported 1,003 new cases, taking the case load to 2,64,545. More from our correspondent.
Maharashtra Minister of State for Rural Development Abdul Sattar lauded the team of Unani doctors in Malegaon for setting a good example by standing with the administration in times of COVID crisis. While felicitating them in Malegaon, he appealed the citizens to follow the instructions of the health administration while celebrating the upcoming festivals. In Pune, the number of corona patients and critically ill patients is declining. At present, only 143 patients are undergoing treatment at municipality's COVID care center, while 822 patients are undergoing treatment at government hospitals. On the other hand, around 9,000 Mumbaikars availed free COVID-19 test at 244 locations set up by the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation in the last 5 days. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
Gujarat recorded 1,020 new cases of coronavirus in the last 24 hours. Recovery rate has improved to 91.09%. More from our correspondent.
Gujarat has recorded a total 1,80,699 cases till now. Out of these, 1,64,596 patients recovered. 819 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. More than 64,68,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Maximum 194 new cases reported from Surat, while Ahmedabad recorded 185 new cases. At present, total active cases in the state are 12,340, out of which 68 patients are on ventilator. 7 patients died yesterday, taking the total deaths due to COVID-19 up to 3,763. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
The total number of COVID-19 patients in Chhattisgarh has crossed 2 lakh. Currently, more than 23,000 patients are being treated in various hospitals or are in home isolation. The state government is trying to strengthen facilities in the state for the treatment of COVID-19. We have more from our correspondent.
In Chhattisgarh, at present there are more than 2,500 beds with oxygen facility in various government health centers. The state government is trying to increase about 5,000 more such beds. Oxygen units have also been set up in every medical college to ensure availability of oxygen to corona-infected patients in the state. For the treatment of corona patients, 29 COVID care hospitals and 127 COVID care centers are operational in the state. Besides, 213 ambulances have been deployed for the corona patients. Of these, 193 have basic lab facilities, while 20 ambulances are equipped with modern lab facilities. To identify corona-infected patients in the state, 22,000 to 25,000 samples are currently being tested daily. Apart from this, health workers in rural and urban areas of Chhattisgarh are going door to door to identify people with symptoms similar to corona infection under the Health Protection Campaign. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur. In Odisha, COVID-19 recovery has reached 2,88,168. On the other hand, with 1,434 fresh cases, the total caseload of the state has gone up to 3,01,574. While the state is nearing the 50 lakh mark in sample testing, the active caseload has dipped to 13,239. COVID-19 fatalities in the state have increased to 1,425. In Bihar, the COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 96.46%. This is 3.97% more than the national average. The number of active cases in the state is continuously declining. Currently, 6,731 patients are undergoing treatment at various hospitals. 825 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours, while 801 new cases were reported. Over 2,14,736 patients have so far recovered from the infection in the state. In Karnataka, 2,235 recoveries and 2,250 new cases of COVID-19 were reported yesterday. At the same time, 22 people died to the virus. Tests per million population the last 10 days has been 15,057. The positivity rate for the day is 2.12% and case fatality rate is 0.97%. The recovery rate recorded for the day is around 94%. Total active cases remained at 33,320. Out of 11,369 deaths were reported till date.
Karnataka Health Department is planning to directly appoint 2,500 doctors to tie over the shortage of doctors. It is also planning to conduct tests of those staying in home stays in tourist places. In Tamil Nadu, the active COVID-19 caseload has come down to 18,894. In the last 24 hours, 2,334 people tested positive for the viral infection, including 601 in Chennai. More from our correspondent.
30 of the 37 districts in Tamil Nadu witnessed new cases in 2 digits, including 3 districts in a single digit. The loss of life of 20 people yesterday has been reported only in 9 districts. Meanwhile, the State Education Department is holding consultations with the parents of high and higher secondary class students this morning on the reopening of the schools, which was earlier scheduled on the 16th of this month. The government is expected to take a call on the date of reopening based on the feedback they get from the parents' meeting, as reservations have been expressed about the safety of the children in some quarters. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Talking to All India Radio News, Dr. A.K. Varshney, RML Hospital, Delhi, spoke about the precautions for the students of senior classes to stay safe from COVID-19.
बड़ी क्लास के बच्चे हो रहे हैं, खासतौर से 9 से लेकर 12 के, कुछ सावधानियां रखना बहुत जरूरी है। जो ऐसे बच्चों के स्कूल हैं, वो सबको एक साथ ना बुलाया जाए। कुछ क्लासेस जो है वो मॉर्निंग में की जाए, कुछ लोगों को शाम को किया जाए। प्लस स्कूल में भी जैसे जो डिस्टेंस, अगर बच्चों के बीच में जैसे एक क्लास में कुछ कम बच्चे रखे जाएं, को दूसरी क्लास में किया जाए, तो सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का वहाँ पालन हो सके। हर बच्चे को जो टीचर है उनकी ये जिम्मेदारी हो, हर बच्चे को देखें कि वो मास्क लगा के बैठा हुआ है। स्कूल जो है वहाँ पे कोई अपना टनल टाइप की, जैसे यूवी टनल बना सकते हैं, तो वो सामान जो है यूवी टनल से भेजा जा सकता है, वो सैनिटाइज हो सकता है।
Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh has said that proper food regime prescribed for a diabetic patient can also be prescribed for healthy people so that they do not catch the disease. He said COVID has prompted people to discover new norms in adversity and underlined the importance of Indian traditional medicine system. Speaking at the webinar organized on the eve of World Diabetes Week yesterday, Dr. Jitendra Singh said that ever since Narendra Modi took over as the Prime Minister, he has brought to the center stage the virtues of indigenous system of medical management. He said it was Prime Minister Modi who brought a unanimous resolution in the United Nations to observe the International Day of Yoga, as a result of which yoga has reached virtually to every household across the world. He also added that it was Prime Minister Modi again who created a separate Ministry of Ayush, considering the importance of indigenous medical management system, besides promoting holistic medicine. Dr. Singh said Corona has also given the physicians a cue to emphasize on the non-pharmacological methods of management, including hygiene, which had somehow lost due importance in recent years.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch development projects of more than 600 crore rupees in Varanasi this morning. COVID recovery rate improves to 92.49%. Assam government to start Aadhaar enrollment drive for 70 lakh students today. US President-elect Joe Biden announces 12-member task force to deal with COVID-19. Former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy to co-chair the group. In cricket, Delhi Capitals beat Sunrisers Hyderabad to enter first ever IPL final. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
News Services Division of All India Radio brings to you program Employment News in association with the Publications Division, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. An effective platform for information on job vacancies, training programs, admission notices, results and career advice with experts. Every day at 4:20 p.m. on FM Gold and other frequencies, and on our YouTube channel AIR News Official.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को
Welcome back. In Assam, Education Department will start Aadhaar enrollment drive for nearly 70 lakh students from today. The drive will cover all government and private school students aged between 6 to 18 years. All the deputy commissioners will launch the free Aadhaar enrollment drive today in the respective districts. The drive is expected to be completed by March next year. Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang called on Donor Minister for Dr. Jitendra Singh yesterday and discussed several centrally aided development projects in the state. He also conveyed his gratitude to the minister for regularly following the COVID situation in the state, as well as relief and rehabilitation work following the rainfall and floods. During a half-an-hour meeting with the Donor Minister, Mr. Tamang submitted two proposals, one of which was related to Chakung, falling under one of the aspirational districts. He also updated Dr. Jitendra Singh about the heavy tourist rush in Sikkim, which had remained undeterred by the COVID pandemic and is continuing even during the off-season.
Railways will run 696 suburban train services in West Bengal from Wednesday. Railway Minister Piyush Goyal said this will greatly enhance passenger convenience, ease of movement and facilitate smooth travel for the people. In a tweet, he said adequate safety measures will be taken, keeping in mind the prevailing COVID-19 situation. The approval to operate these services was given by the railways after consultations with the state government. All such services remain suspended since March due to the outbreak of coronavirus. In Madhya Pradesh, during the ongoing festival season, an intensive campaign will be launched against adulterators and those who manufacture and sell fake material in the state. Our correspondent has filed this report.
According to official information, 3 new laboratories will soon be constructed in Indore, Gwalior and Jabalpur for testing adulterated materials with financial support of the central government. 9 mobile laboratories will also be operated in the state for spot testing and reporting of food items. Currently, 1,000 samples of food items can be tested per month in existing laboratories in the state. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan directed that once the samples of food items are taken and tested in the laboratory, there should be no delay in the process of submitting its report to the court so that the offenders can be punished on time. The Chief Minister clearly said that special care should be taken under the campaign to ensure that honest businessmen do not face any problems. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Delhi Police has suspended all licenses issued for the sale of firecrackers in the national capital. The Delhi Police added that further action will be taken on the National Green Tribunal's directions. Ahead of Diwali, the Delhi Police has seized over 593 kilograms of illegal crackers being sold in various parts of Delhi. 7 people have been arrested in this regard and cases have been registered against them. The Delhi Police has also registered 8 cases in connection with bursting of firecrackers and arrested 1 person. The Delhi government has also put a complete ban on the sale, purchase and use of all kinds of firecrackers in Delhi till the 30th of this month due to air pollution and cases of COVID-19. Narcotics Control Bureau NCB has arrested Bollywood producer Feroz Nadiadwala's wife after marijuana was recovered at their residence at Juhu in Mumbai. Earlier yesterday, the NCB searched Nadiadwala's residence and seized 10 grams of marijuana. NCB officials said that the contraband was prima facie procured from Wahid Abdul Qadir Sheikh alias Sultan, who was arrested earlier. NCB Mumbai Zonal Director Sameer Wankere said that the agency has arrested Nadiadwala's wife Shabana Saeed under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act after recording her statement. He added that further investigation is on.
Elaborate arrangements have been made for the counting of votes for assembly elections in Bihar tomorrow. The counting for by-elections to Valmiki Nagar Lok Sabha seat will also be taken up simultaneously. Elections for the 243-member Bihar Legislative Assembly were held in 3 phases on 28 October, 3rd and 7th of this month. 55 counting centers have been set up in 38 districts of the state. 414 counting halls have been prepared. Not more than 7 counting tables will be allowed in a counting halls to maintain social distancing. Election Commission has issued guidelines in view of the ongoing The counting centers will be disinfected before, during and after the counting. Social distancing and other safety norms will be followed for each activity. Mask is necessary for all officials at counting centers. Jawans of Central Paramilitary Force have been deployed at each booth to ensure trouble-free counting. Talking to AIR News, Bihar Additional Chief Electoral Officer Balamurugan D said, counting of votes for all seats will take place in a safe and transparent manner.
3-tier security is being provided. One more important arrangement from Election Commission of India is that every constituency is going to have counting observers. Most of them have arrived and under their supervision and observation, the counting will begin. Every effort is being made to conduct the counting in a smooth and very transparent manner. Counting will begin at 8 and confident that by evening the results will come out.
In a first-of-its-kind policy consultation, Science and Technology Minister Harshvardhan interacted with the highly skilled Indian diaspora to facilitate channels for them to contribute to India's Science, Technology and Innovation Policy STIP 2020. The minister stressed that India aims to connect the diaspora with the Indian scientific and economic ecosystem to accelerate the growth in science, technology and innovation.
India prides itself on having a diaspora empire on which the sun never sets. The Indian diaspora has been a source of remittances, technology and intellectual power. We acknowledge the huge untapped potential of the diaspora and aim at connecting with them back to Indian scientific and economic ecosystem.
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden has announced a 12-member task force for COVID-19 to mount an effective response to the pandemic that has infected millions and damaged the U.S. economy. In his victory speech in Wilmington, Delaware, Mr. Biden said he will spare no effort to turn around this pandemic. He said the panel will convert his coronavirus fighting plan into an action blueprint that will be built on a bedrock of science.
On Monday, I will name a group of leading scientists and experts as transition advisors to help take the Biden-Harris COVID plan and convert it into an action blueprint that will start on January 2021. That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion, empathy, and concern.
The task force will be co-chaired by former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, former Food and Drug Administration Commissioner David Kessler, and Marcella Nunes-Smith, a professor of public health at Yale University. It will also include Ezekiel Emanuel, former health advisor in Obama administration. Mr. Biden has promised a much more muscular response to the pandemic than President Donald Trump has made. The virus has infected 9.8 million people in the U.S. and killed more than 237,000 people as daily case counts continue to rise. The first flight carrying tourists from Israel to the UAE landed in the city-state of Dubai yesterday, with the latest sign of normalization deal reaching between the two nations. Fly Dubai flight landed at Dubai International Airport, bringing the tourists to the skyscraper-stud city after a nearly 3-hour trip. The flight flew across Saudi Arabia and then over the waters of the Persian Gulf to reach the UAE. Fly Dubai plans to begin its flights to Tel Aviv later this month.
An Ethiopian Airlines flight from Riyadh to Bengaluru was diverted to Mumbai yesterday owing to hydraulic leakage. In a statement, the spokesperson of Mumbai International Airport confirmed that the aircraft landed safely and was parked. According to the Mumbai Fire Department, 3 fire engines, 1 rescue van and other vehicles were deployed near the Mumbai Airport runway to ensure a safe emergency landing of the aircraft. Uttarakhand is celebrating its 20th Foundation Day today. Several programs have been organized across the state to mark the occasion. Governor Bibi Rani Maurya, Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat and Assembly Speaker Prem Chand Agarwal have greeted the people on the occasion.
The air quality in Delhi continues to remain in severe category this morning. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, the city's air quality index was recorded 461 at 7 a.m. An air quality index between 201 and 300 is considered poor, 301 to 400 very poor, and 401 to 500 severe. The System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research, SAFAR, has forecast that the air quality will stay at the severe to the higher end of very poor category today. SAFAR has advised people to avoid all physical activity outdoors. It has asked people to stop any activity level if they experience any unusual coughing, chest discomfort, wheezing, breathing difficulty or fatigue. An active western disturbance is most likely to affect the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh from 13th to 15th November. Srinagar Met Department issued a forecast that main activity of the western disturbance will be occurring on 14th November, Saturday, which could result in moderate rain or snowfall of 1 to 2 inches in the plains of Kashmir and hilly areas of Jammu and Ladakh regions, especially in Dras, Zanskar and some areas of Leh district. However, it added that a good snowfall is expected at places like Gulmarg and Gurez. Now let us take a look at the weather update for today. The national capital saw moderate fog. The minimum temperature was 13, while the maximum will be around 29. In Mumbai, sky will be mainly clear. Minimum temperature in the metropolis was 23 and the maximum will be around 35. Chennai will likely see a generally cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 25 and 32. Kolkata is also expected to have a mainly clear sky with temperature varying between 20 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, sky will be mainly clear with minimum temperature of 12 and maximum of around 28. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature in the city was -1 degree Celsius, while the maximum will be around 20 degrees. In Leh, the sky will be mainly clear becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was -10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 10 degrees. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, with temperature rising from -1 to 22 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, the sky will be mainly clear becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, and the temperature will range between 7 and 27 degrees Celsius. On to sports. In cricket, Delhi Capitals entered their first ever IPL final with a convincing 17-run victory over Sunrisers Hyderabad and the second qualifier in Abu Dhabi last night. Opting to bat first, Delhi posted a massive total of 189 for 3 in 20 overs. In reply, Hyderabad were restricted on 172 for 8. With this win, Delhi will now face Mumbai Indians in the Summit clash tomorrow. In Women's T20 Challenge Cricket Tournament, Supernovas defeated Trailblazers by 2 runs at Sharjah. Supernovas will take on Trailblazers again in the final, which will be played today. Supernovas have won both the earlier editions of the Women's T20 Challenge.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The result of the U.S. presidential elections continues to dominate all the newspapers for the second consecutive day today. Pledging to be president of all Americans, Biden vows to unify America, calling for end to era of demonization, writes the Tribune. Modi greets Joe and Kamala, readies for new government in U.S., notes the Asian Age, while the Hindu states, Tulasendrapuram, Harris, ancestral village, erupts in joy over Kamala's victory. A new president for U.S., new economic ties for us, observes the Economic Times. A headline in the Indian Express quoting the Prime Minister writes, Shipping Ministry to be renamed to Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways to bring clarity in the work it does. Free annual checkups for staff above 40, reports Business Standard, according to the new labour rules being prepared by the union government. And finally, under the headline, UK to honour Saraghadi hero, the Times of India writes about a 9-foot-tall bronze statue of Havildar Ishar Singh, set to become the first monument in Britain, specifically honouring the fallen heroes.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch development projects of more than 600 crore rupees in Varanasi this morning. COVID recovery rate improves to 92.49%. Assam government to start Aadhaar enrollment drive for 70 lakh students today. US President-elect Joe Biden announces 12-member task force to deal with COVID-19. Former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy to co-chair the group. In cricket, Delhi Capitals beat Sunrisers Hyderabad to enter first ever IPL final. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.